All right, we're going to dive into a pretty fascinating new AI strategy today. And it's all about tapping into this huge, massive market that almost everyone has been overlooking. Seriously, this could be a total game changer. So let's just start with a number that is, well, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. $78 trillion. That's the estimated wealth that American baby boomers control. To put that into perspective, we are talking about the single biggest pile of cash in the entire modern economy. It's staggering. And that number, it brings us to a really big question, a central mystery, really. When you have an opportunity that big, why? Why does it feel like the world's most innovative companies are just, looking the other way? It's a huge paradox, and that's what we're going to unpack right now. And let's be clear, we're not just talking about some small, missed opportunity here. This is a massive, gaping hole in the market. The source material for this actually calls it an oil well gusher, just sitting there waiting for someone to finally turn the tap on. So what's going wrong? Well, a big part of the problem is that when the tech world does try to reach this group, they get the strategy completely backwards. They default to advertising on platforms like TikTok and Snapchat. But here's the thing, that's a huge mistake. The real digital home for this demographic, it's squarely inside the Google ecosystem. We're talking search, Gmail, YouTube, the tools they actually use every single day. It's like they're fishing in completely the wrong ocean. Okay, so how do you fix this? Well, it all comes down to a really powerful shift in mindset. The goal here is to transform the user from being just a passive consumer into an active creator. You're essentially moving from being an aging boomer to what this strategy cleverly calls an AI bloomer. And the core idea here is this concept of the prosumer. Now, that word isn't new. It was actually coined way back in the day by the legendary futurist Alvin Toffler. He basically predicted a future where the line between making something and using something would just dissolve. A future where the customer actually becomes part of the whole creative process. Pretty prescient, right? And this is a brilliant way to see the difference in action. A typical passive AI consumer, they just ask a chatbot for an answer. Hey, what's the weather? But an active AI prosumer, they're given the tools to actually build their own solutions. We're talking about things like creating a detailed legacy plan or a digital organizer for all their health records. See the difference? They aren't just getting information, they're building something that has real personal value to them. Honestly, the absolute best way to get this is through something called the IKEA effect. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? That feeling after you spend hours wrestling with those crazy instructions and you finally build that bookshelf yourself, you just value it more. You love that thing way more than if it just showed up pre-built. That feeling of ownership, of creation, it's an incredibly powerful motivator. Okay, so you might be thinking, this sounds great, but how do I actually do it? How do I make that shift to becoming an AI prosumer? Well, that's where your new AI toolkit comes into play. Think of it as your new creative partnership. And it's really simple. Think of it like this. You're not just getting a piece of software, you're getting a whole creative team. First up, you've got Gemini. That's your private, confidential guide. It's the safe space where you brainstorm. And then you have Notebook LM. That's your creative factory. It's the workshop where you actually build stuff. But here's the thing. To use these tools effectively, and more importantly, without being afraid to mess up, there's a secret weapon. It's a brilliant two-persona strategy that is absolutely key to getting started. Here's how it works, and it's so simple. You have two separate accounts. Your private account is your messy space. It's a totally safe place to be a beginner. It's like your own private journal where you can admit what you don't know, ask dumb questions, and make mistakes without any judgment at all. Then you've got your public account. This is your polished space. It's like putting on your best suit. This is for sharing the fine-tuned ideas you developed back in your messy space. This simple separation, it takes all the fear out of learning. All right, this is where it all comes together. Because this whole system, it isn't just about playing around with AI. It's about taking your personal experience, your life, and transforming it into something tangible, something lasting, a legacy. And it all starts by recognizing the value of what you already own. This idea has a name, and I love it. Life property. What is it? It's everything that makes you, you. Your stories, your skills, your family history, your passions. Just think of it like a giant treasure chest filled with all this incredible raw material that's been kind of hard to open and share. Until now. So how do you start shaping that raw material? Let's look at a real-world example. You could take your personal documents, maybe some old notes, letters, journals, and you feed them to your AI factory, Notebook LM. Then you give it a powerful prompt, just like this one. Now, notice how specific it is, how creative it is. You're not just asking a question, you're telling the AI to act as a professional collaborator. And the best part? It's all built entirely on your knowledge. And then, just look at the result. In literally minutes, Notebook LM can take all that raw material, maybe it was just a jumble of old recipes or random notes on gardening, and it structures it into a full-blown course outline. Just like that. You've turned a messy personal history into a structured, valuable asset.
But here's the most important part, really. The things you create, they aren't just meant to sit on your computer. They're designed from the very beginning to be shared. They're meant to start conversations, to spark memories, and to actually strengthen your real-world relationships with your family and your community. It really is about building bridges between generations.
So, that brings us to the final and, I think, the most important question. The one I want to leave you with today. When you stop and think about your own life property, your history, your passions, your unique expertise, what's the very first piece of your story that you would want to transform?